Blessings, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to make a 3-video series about how to build your private client base. And so if you're somebody who is interested, as many of you are, who responded to the survey, and if you haven't responded to the survey, I'll attach a link below this video so that you can do that. If you're somebody who is wanting to build their private client base, then keep watching because this video is for you. So before we dive into the content that I'm super excited to talk to you about, because this is one of my specialties, we'll just close our eyes, take a deep breath in, exhale, sigh it out, feel yourself relax, come into your breath, and come more fully into the present moment by really coming into your body, feeling your body from the inside out. Begin to drop your awareness down from the crown of your head all the way into your lower abdomen. Begin to anchor there. Maybe even breathe there like you did when you were a baby. And then letting your awareness rise up into the heart center, feeling the solar plexus center of the chest and the throat. And then just noticing any emotions that you're feeling. Are you happy, sad, angry, afraid, or some variation of that? Anxious, content, grateful, joyful, restless. Maybe there's some other emotions that's making itself known to you. So just allowing yourself to acknowledge, yes, this is where my heart is as I'm beginning to take in this lesson that I'm about to receive. And then allowing your awareness to lift up from the heart center, feeling through the third eye and the crown of the head and any tension behind the eyes, just allowing that to soften. And then noticing, where is your mind? Any thoughts that are pulling you out of presence, just bring them into the light of awareness. And as you connect to where you are in your heart and your mind, you create that space. Allow that space, that unhooking from emotions and thoughts, to be one within which our intention can arise. So what is it that you're most needing to receive or feel right now in your life or in your healing practice, your healing business? Maybe it's clarity or confidence or ease, freedom, reassurance, hope. What is it that you're needing to receive? And then taking a deep breath in, exhale, sigh it out. Knowing where we're going, knowing what it is that you're needing to receive, you can begin to tune your attention in that direction as you gently open your eyes. If you have any, I really would recommend that you watch this not distracted by anything else. So closing down browsers and not checking your phone, just letting yourself receive whatever it is you're needing to receive from this class. You're listening to this for a reason. So have a journal handy and feel free to pause this video anytime that you need to, okay? So seeing private clients is a really great way to affect deep change in your students and your clients. Really, when we work one-on-one with people, we can take them through a process of change that is like exponential compared to if they were coming to a group class or just listening to, videos or taking a course, right? You might reflect, so it's not just that. So it's a great way to affect deep and profound change in your clients. And then it feels good on the other end as, the healer, because that's what we want so much, right? And when we work with people privately, we really get to sense the value and the effectiveness of our work. Even if you have a small or pretty much you feel like it's a non-existent audience. And so today we're going to talk specifically about confidence, having the confidence to attract private clients and to offer our work to them, make offers and enroll people in our private programs. And then following this, tomorrow we'll talk about clarity. And then the third day, we're going to talk about how to build your audience. So today is confidence. So you might rate yourself right now, like how confident do you feel in offering private work to clients? And don't think about why you don't feel confident or what, just for now, just like how confident do you feel without the why? You don't need to know why right now. Just rate yourself from 1 to 10. 1 feeling I don't feel confident at all. And 10 is like I'm super confident. I'm super confident in my capacity to serve private clients, that I do create change for my clients, and therefore I value my offerings and I'm not afraid to ask for what I'm worth. That's a 10. Likely you, if you're saying you're a 10, then you have a robust private practice. And some of you might, although you probably wouldn't be watching this video, right? If you did. So I had led into a story yesterday when I sent my email, or whenever you're watching this, or reread that email, about my first private client session. So many of you know that I was an elementary school teacher, and I decided to go part-time elementary school teaching for like the last 5 years of my work so that I could be home with my kids and take them to our co-op preschool, which demanded a lot of my time. And then also to build out my healing practice, which I didn't know. All I knew was, I was in love with mindfulness and it had changed my life, but I didn't know how that would translate into working with students or clients. But I did know that it was something that I wanted to build out and do eventually. And so that was another. So as I was transitioning part-time as a school teacher, I was also doing meditation classes and teaching some yoga classes publicly and privately, but not one-on-one, and that was just very small. It wasn't, I didn't have any email list or anything like that, but so I knew that I wanted to start doing privates because I didn't have a big audience. I didn't have an email list, and I needed this to work. Like, I'm not someone who can have like a hobby job. I don't know, can you relate? Like, you can't have a hobby job. That might be why you're in your 9 to 5 that you don't like very much or hate, because you need the income, right? I needed income. And so I needed to think about what would be a path to that, so that would work quickly, so that I could start serving people in a way that I loved, in a way that I was born to do, working with people in a way that I was created to help them in this way. At the same time, I could bring in enough income. I mean, let's just get honest. I'm just getting really honest. I needed the income, the cash flow too. Private work, private clients. Julian Walker made this, he's on the Thriving Healer video series. He made this great ebook, and you might check it out if you haven't already, about privates and enrolling people in private programs. And so I read that ebook. I think he offers it through Yoga Teacher Grad School. And I thought, yes, this is my path. This is what I should do. And so my first private session was a disaster. It was a disaster. Though, it's like I started reaching out to people that I knew. And my hairdresser was one of them. And I thought, well, and I talked to her and I said, I'm going to be moving towards doing this work in the world. Would you be open to receiving a client session a private session completely free? And she was, of course. So we scheduled some time together. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know, do you wing it? Sometimes I wing it. I don't do this anymore, not in sessions, but I was just like kind of finding my way, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was not confident because I hadn't done it before. I wasn't clear about what it was, what change I wanted to affect in her. And so she felt really relaxed and good at the end of the session, but there was no grab, there was no traction there. It was like, why would she need to come back and see me again? Like, I came, I delivered, we did some yoga, we did some breath work, we talked a little bit, and then the session was over, and I remember getting into my car. And I got in my car and I started my car and I drove a few blocks away because I didn't want her to see me crying, pulling over in my car and crying in my car because I just left my teaching position completely. And I thought, I'm not cut out for this. Did you ever have an experience like that? I mean, all this like primal fear that I am not good enough. This is not going to work out for me. I'm going to go through the 3 kind of sticky points that can happen for us as we try to as we cultivate our confidence around doing privates with our clients. Right? So the first block is, I'm not qualified or ready. And you might write this down. I'm not qualified or ready. And I want you to check in with yourself and sense, how true is that on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you feel not qualified or ready to do this? Like, I don't have enough education. So this was going on for me big time when I was sitting in the car. Was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I kind of didn't, right? We learn as we go. I was just learning as I went. And that's actually how it happens for anyone. But I had this idea in my mind that I should somehow already have it all figured out. And that the fact that I didn't allow myself to have a very fixed mindset around it, you know? And so I just felt like, who am I kidding? I'm not ready. I need more training, right? Who am I to work with people privately? I'm not a therapist. I have my bachelor's degree in health psychology, and I have my certification in applied meditation, counseling and teaching, but even if we have our MFT or whatever, even if we have tons of certifications and education, we can still have this sort of imposter syndrome thing going on, okay? So the medicine, I'm going to give you the block and then the medicine for the block. The medicine for this block is, you are already ready. You are already ready. Stop getting ready to get ready. How would it feel? What would you do if you trusted you're already ready? You might write that down. How would it feel if you trusted you're already ready to work with clients privately? Even if you don't know what you're going to do and you don't have an email list, okay? And then for a little bit of proof, I want you to start writing down all of the stuff you've done to heal. Beautiful. You've been in school for years and years and years. It just doesn't feel like formal study because you love it. You have read more books, you've watched more podcasts, you've gone to more classes, you've done more work in your craft, in healing yourself, than most people. Already. So start writing that down. Start to see your informal education and value it. The only way any of us really get ready is to do. And I got better and better at serving private clients when I didn't let this block get in my way. I cried, I dusted myself off, and I got back on the horse. And I started doing more free, complimentary sessions with people that I knew. And as I did that, I got better and better. I'm in my office right now. I have a robust, thriving private practice that not just through my privates, but a lot of my income comes from my private work, and I'm making more money than I made as an elementary school teacher. So, which, for some people that's nothing. For me, when I was just starting out and, to say that, it's like, I didn't know that was possible, right? and this is, to make a sustainable income, doing what I love to do. I didn't have, my parents hated work. They hated work. Bless them. They hated work, and they always struggled with money. I remember my dad, I'll never forget when we went over to his apartment, my parents were divorced, and he put money out on the coffee table, allocating it for different things so that he could show me how broke he was, because he was afraid I would go home to my mom and tell her that he had money and that she would ask for more child support, which she had to take him to court for. He had to have his wages garnished, okay? This was like the scarcity mentality I grew up with. So the ideas of work I grew up with were work is hard, you shouldn't like it, and you just make enough to get by. You might think about yours, right? Like, just reflect on that for a minute. You can absolutely create a thriving private client practice, make more than you would make if you were just teaching. I know lots of yoga teachers who teach tons of workshops and all kinds of classes, and they're exhausted and they're depleted and they're resentful and they're burned out. And I can see part of the reason I made this series, if they had this aspect to their business, to their offerings, it would really, really help in so many different ways. Confidence. You're already ready. How would it feel if you trusted that? And then just start to see where you spend your time. All those yoga classes you take, all those meditation retreats you go on, all those books you read, they're all part of your curriculum. You're meant to be doing this or you wouldn't be watching this video. And then remember that confidence too comes with practice. So, the more I did it, the more clear it became. Now I'm very clear in what I do and how I affect change in my clients. Very clear about it because I've done it. But don't, it's okay to be confused right now. That's why I mentioned, even if you don't know your modality in particular. This brings me to number 2, clarity. I don't know what to do is a block that can really get in the way of our confidence. I don't know what to do, right? Like all these different modalities, all these different things. Well, okay, I don't even know what I call myself. I didn't either. Right? This might be, I don't know we get so derailed with branding. Like we think that we need to know exactly what we do and have a title and be branded before we even work with people. It's ridiculous. Believe me, people do not care what your title is. What they care about is how you make them feel. So rather than thinking about what I call myself or these are the, what is it that, explaining kind of the tools that you use and all that stuff, which is going to lose your people when you're doing consults with them every time. Think of it from this perspective. Even if you don't know what to call yourself, I don't care. I didn't have a title. I was just Karina Nickerson, yoga and meditation. That was it. And so the Embodied Mindfulness School was birthed out of me just not kind of taking action and then noticing what worked and what didn't. And then I gave a name to it once I had enough understanding. It's like when you move into an apartment or a house, you don't put furniture in it until you're, new furniture or whatever. Like you kind of have to be in the space a little bit to know what to bring in. And so it's the same with this. Instead, I want you to think about this and write it down. What pains do you solve? For me, my clients' pains were limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and chronic stress. Pretty broad, right? But I mean, I can always narrow it down to one thing or the other. And then there will usually be some specific aspect of that. I'm just stressed all the time. I'm never present. Or, I have this place I've been practicing a really long time. Meditators sometimes come to me and they have emotional blocks that they can't move through, and I help them with that. So I work with people on a personal growth path who are struggling with limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and chronic stress. What are the pains of your people? And let me tell you this, if you're not sure what that is, think about yourself. What were the pains that you went to, that you sought your healing because of? What pains brought you? Like for me, I was chronically anxious and I was having panic attacks and I didn't know who I was. I mean, this is an example. This was a long time ago, but when I was an undergrad in school, because my friend told me I should do research, I did research. I didn't like research. Because someone I worked with told me I should be a school teacher, I became a school teacher. I'm not kidding you. That's how little I knew who I was and what I felt and what I wanted. There was a flicker of it, but I found meditation as a way. The surface was like panic attacks, and I'm drinking all the time, and I'm not eating, and I'm exercising compulsively. Like, I'm, help. And it wasn't working. Eventually, it just stopped working. And so, what were your pains? And then just get more specific about it. And don't worry, when I ask these questions of you, remember that these are inquiries, and there can be sometimes this thing where we think we should have the answer right away. That's the fixed mindset. Let yourself not know. It's really okay not to know. The path to clarity is confusion, right? The path to clarity is confusion. Don't judge yourself for being confused. It's going to show you what you need to get clear on. Okay, so what pains brought you? And those are the pains that you likely solve in your work with your people. And make a decision too. Like, we can flounder around in indecision. Just trust that what comes up, it's like negative emotions, limiting beliefs, chronic stress, or some, what are yours? And then what are the results when those things are taken care of? So we have our pain and our gain, basic business coaching. Like, as we're coming up with how we talk about our work, people want to hear the pain and the gain. They could give a hoot about how you do it, honestly. And we get so hooked into that, but I've seen it over and over and over again. When I make offers to my clients, it's like they don't really want to know how I'm going to get them there. They just want to trust that I can get them there. And that your clients trust you can get them there when you're clear about their pains and the gains, and you're like present with them, right? So for me, the gains are the self-love that you need to make healthy changes in your life, healthy relationships, and the clarity and confidence and focus to make your big dreams happen in the world. So what are the gains that your clients have? What are they going to come away with? And try to take it into, like, if you're like, the gain is to relax, which is great, but why go deeper? To relax so that, right? For me, it was greater self-love so that they make the healthy changes they need to make in their life, right? How a lot of healthy changes aren't necessarily easy. And the only way that we're going to be able to make them is so that is because we love ourselves, we care about ourselves. Like, I woke up this morning and got out of bed and did my practice and took my walk, and I didn't want to. But self-love got me out of bed to do my practices because I know it boosts my confidence and my energy and myself. I feel better about myself when I keep my word to myself. And that's self-love, It's the only thing that got me out of bed this morning. So self-love to make healthy changes. So take it there so that, my clients feel unblocked, so that, like, especially with us healers, we can sometimes we stay in the esoteric realms. Try to take it to a concrete, clarity and confidence to make their big dreams happen. And so that, so it's like, so that. Clarity. And the last one I want to cover is audience. You may have a robust email list if you're a current healer, or you may have no email list, or you may be like I was when I first started. I had like 100 people because I just would collect names. So that's, first of all, know that you likely have the people who need you in their life right now. You know who they are. So we can get, especially if we study, we take lots of trainings and we watch lots of YouTube videos about marketing and, growing our businesses, we can get really lost in ideas and concepts that take us away from what the universe is just bringing into our lives. So first of all, realize this: your private clients, the first ones that you'll enroll are people you already know. And when you start to go into that space, like, intend it. Like, I'd love to start working with one new private client. Who is that private client? Like, trust that they're going to come into your life, or they're already in your life. Like, be open. This is what I started doing. And so I would be sitting at the, coffee shop, and, or the yoga studio. One of my students would be talking about something that's going on for them that's hard. And I would go in, like, oh, so you need this and that, and we should, I do this. Like, I work with people on a personal growth path to help them unblock. Like, we should schedule a clarity session, and they're freely offered. And I really mean that. Like, I really, not everyone is meant to work with you, and you're not meant to work with everyone. So, freely offered sessions I used to think I was going to get ripped off. Like, oh, people are just going to use me for my free sessions. That's such a scarcity mindset. If I didn't do free clarity sessions or insight sessions with people, I wouldn't enroll people. I mean, they need to have a taste of that. For me, it was just a matter, they get a taste of what I do, and then I offer the program, and they either say yes or no. And I'm not going to talk about programs right now. I should do another series on that. But for now, let's just say that around confidence and building your private practice, that you don't have to have an audience, email list that's big. It can just start looking at the people in your life and start to see, where can I help people? Another piece is about audiences. Start building an email list if you haven't already. You can collect email addresses, anywhere and everywhere. When you're talking to someone who you feel like you could really help them, get them on your email list. Give them your card, but get their email, and then have something that you send out. Weekly is my suggestion. So another piece of starting to build your audience is newsletters, social media postings, some way in which you're delivering content. But I would recommend a newsletter, because that goes to your email list. And that's, someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, book a clarity session with me. It's a more intimate relationship than people on social media are just scrolling through. Like Shanda Sumter, she's this freaking amazing business coach. I just got back from the Zone event with her. I'm just so grateful for her. And if you really want to get more information about building your audience and building your email list, I highly recommend you study her. She's incredible. But for our purposes here, realize that you can start having private clients even if you don't have an email list, or if you have a small email list. The bigger your email list is, the easier this gets. So, but I didn't have much of an email list. I did have a small one, because over the years of teaching yoga, I'd collected emails, but it wasn't that many. And those weren't my first private clients. My first private clients were just people I was like sitting with, coffee shop, my hairstylist, who else? Once I made the decision to enroll private clients, and I had the necessity, I needed to, I had shut all of my back doors, I started to be like aware. My radar would go off, ding, 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 I can help this person. And I just jumped in. And the more you do it, the more practice you get. Practice on some people too. You might to gain some confidence. Practice gives you confidence. You shouldn't have a lot of confidence in something you haven't done before. The more competent you get at something, the more confident you become. Step in without the confidence, realizing that you are designed to do this. Let it be a disaster. Like mine was, right? I mean, it was a disaster. Felt like a disaster to me. I was so, so discouraged and so upset, and felt really afraid that I'd made a big mistake. And so, So I hope this helps. So just to review, the 3 pieces of building more confidence, attracting private clients, even if our audience is small. Realize you're already ready. Stop getting ready to get ready. 2, clarity. It's not so important that you know what you're called or that you get that just right. What's more important is that you understand the pains and then the gains for your clients. That's what they care about. That's what you're going to communicate. They could honestly give a flip what you're called. And I know I know this is true. I've done so many sessions at this point. I know I've experienced that enough. And then 3, realize that you can, if your confidence is low because you don't have an audience, you don't need a big audience. Okay? You don't need a big audience. And I do encourage you to keep growing that. And if you want more laser coaching around that and help, and Shanda Sumter's your lady. And I think that's it. It's been really nice to talk to you. Tomorrow we're going to be going into, I have to look at my notes here. Tomorrow we're talking about clarity. And so, we're going to go even deeper into clarity tomorrow. I touched on it a little bit today, but we're going to go deeper into it tomorrow. Today's main focus was confidence, but these themes weave into each other. And then the 3rd one is audience. So I'm going to get more specific around building your audience, okay? So I hope you'll join me for all 3 days. And if you want clarity and confidence, you want to learn how you can given, like if you're an aspiring healer, like maybe you don't have your healing work out there in the world hardly at all, or you're a current healer who's struggling building their private practice, building their private clients, then I'm happy to do a complimentary insight session with you where I can do some laser coaching just around this area. I mean, I'm just really good at this. So, and I can say that with complete confidence, and I'd love to help you too. So I'll leave a link below or a button that you can click so that you can schedule some time, get on my calendar. I'm opening up time on my calendar for the next 2 weeks, next week and the week after, and then we're done because I'm going to be moving through a program with my clients. But for the next 2 weeks, I have spots on my calendar. Get on those, and I'll see you tomorrow, or whenever you watch the next video, which I hope is tomorrow. Sending you so much love and many, many blessings. Namaste.